Hi, my name is Simone and I'm the Zen Mommy. I'm here to help you with your spiritual awakening and the healing of the mind, body, and soul. Today, I want to talk about the ego. Okay, so this is one of those topics I didn't plan, so bear with me. Okay, so I want to talk about the ego self. Okay, so your ego. What is the ego? Okay, the ego, he's that inner critic, that voice in your head that is always seeking comfort and security and self-indulgence, always putting up the obstacle, putting up the criticism to any positive idea you have. The ego is a part of you, and it also is a helpful part of you, but also it's an unhelpful part of you. It's the part of us to help us get balanced, and also is a part of us that we have to learn how to. The thing is, our whole life we grew up a certain way under the authority of the collective conscious that the ego is built into the collective, into the tribal consciousness. And so a lot of times the ego takes on those that collective way of thinking. So the intellect, right? The intellectual way. You see, now that you're spiritually awakened, you're opened up um, to the unknown, okay, to spirituality, to other dimensions, to things that to the human mind and eye, we don't see as existing. But the ego, it wants to be very literal. It wants to try to protect you, and it does try to protect you, but sometimes it can go overboard because the ego is infiltrated with the belief systems of the collective conscious. And so when it comes to the um, ego has a lot of control. It has a lot of like lately. I've been focusing on trying to get discipline. Okay, so I know there's times where I was able to fast. I would do like a 3-day fast, a 6-day fast, right? And I would fast with some intentions, right? And every time I do this, I get whatever I ask for, whatever prayers I go into fasting with, right? Well, for the past few months, every time I try to fast, I cheated. I wanted to eat. I wanted to drink. It was a juice fast, I used lemon cleanse, and I still was getting food like every day. I was like, what's under everything I was trying for the past few months? I couldn't do it. I kept, like, every time I would set my intention, I'm gonna fast, and then I couldn't do it. Right, and so I learned that this is a discipline. I'm having an issue with discipline. You see, the ego likes to be in control and take authority. So when you do a discipline, okay, like fasting, like vegetarianism, veganism, any discipline, right? It's a way of taking your control back from the ego. And so that's the one thing that I'm learning is that the ego, it gets in the driver's seat, right? And when it has the driver's seat, not only it's protecting you, but it's also into self-indulgence and self-pleasure, and just and criticism, and it'll talk to you bad about doing something, right, or talk you into doing something, right. As soon as you do it, it'll be like, you shouldn't have did that. So it's just like, when you try to feed the ego is never full. It never gets enough. And so the thing with the ego is, one thing I'm learning is, little by little, is we have to start breaking down some discipline. And now it might be like, for me, I don't know how this happened. My ego is completely out of control sometimes, and it's just like I can't even focus on the fasting. And so one thing you have to do with the ego for discipline purposes is you have to make a conscious decision. You have to decide that your word is law. Okay, so whatever you say, okay, I say, Simone, I'm gonna fast today for 3 days, and on the third day I'll eat. Right? Okay, so if I'm going to say that I'm going to fast, you need to respect your decision and stick to it. You need to discipline yourself. You see, this is the way to start taking your control back from the ego. See, the ego, because I haven't been disciplined, the ego's been kind of out of control. So you can actually gradually get the ego in check by discipline, by doing like simple practices of discipline. Say, I'm going to get up every morning and say 5 affirmations. I'm going to decide every morning at 7 o'clock to 7:10, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes. See, these are disciplines, right? So what the ego will be like, no. I remember when we used to go to church in the morning, every morning, we'd be getting ready, and we used to love church, right? The morning we go, like, I want to stay in bed. I don't want to go. Is that a cough? I think you should stay home today. It's just like, The ego will talk, and then when I stay home and be like, people, oh, church was so good, and the ego will be like, that's what you get. You should have went to church. What was you thinking, right? And so that's how the ego, he gets into control. So in order to start getting your control back is, learning how to work with the ego, communicate to the ego, and learning how to discipline yourself. Okay, appreciate the ego's thoughts, thank it for being protective, but I decided I'm going to listen to my infinite self right now. And that's the ways that I'm starting to look at it. This of course is a process that I'm going through. I'm learning about how to get my discipline. And when you're on this spiritual path with the spiritual awakening, it is causing us to heal all areas of our life. Okay, all of these old programming, and let me tell you, the ego is the one that's programmed with all of these programmings. And so as part of this journey is we have to learn how to work through these programs that are coming up. We have to learn how to put them in check. We have to learn how to be on the outside. Okay, realizing that, okay, I'm this being, right? This spiritual being in this earthly body, right? Imagine yourself outside looking at yourself, and watch your thoughts going back and forth. Determine which ones are the ego, which ones are your inner guidance. See, once you start to become aware, like for instance, right? I see somebody, and I'm talking to somebody, and they have like this really nice car. They have like a Tesla or whatever, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, God, I wish I had a nice car, and I'm starting to feel jealousy, right? Well, outside of myself, I'm watching. Oh my God, you think, look at me, I'm feeling some jealousy there. See, this is aware, but you become aware. You don't just live your feelings. You don't just become your emotions. You become aware of your emotions, and then you learn your emotional body, your ego self, your inner guidance. See, this is all a process that you're going to go through in a spiritual awakening. And so that's all I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to end this now. There'll be more to come. Like I always say, these topics are just scratching the surface. I'm going to get deep. All right. Thank you for watching my YouTube channel. Namaste.